Welcome to Business Reporter's Best of Global Business campaign. I'm Rachel Hicks. Clean water is fundamental to human life. But if you've grown up in a country where its abundant supply is taken for granted, it's easy to forget the flip side, one that hundreds of millions of people around the globe experience. That to access clean water, one must sometimes walk for miles, always aware that what they seek is in short supply. Providing clean water to those who lack it is not as easy as simply finding a source and tapping it. A complex system of pumps, treatment plants, pipelines and more is required to ensure that water makes it out of the ground and into people's homes. Moreover, its supply has to be reliable. A malfunction in a pump can affect the health and well-being of an entire town. So careful design and engineering is therefore key to clean water provision. As we're about to see, the challenges are manifold and the focus on efficiency and reliability is crucial. That's what we'll be talking about with Jerry Ash, Deputy CEO, and Paul West, General Manager of Torishima today. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, obviously, it's clearly vital to have access to treated, safe water and not to drink contaminated water. We know the damage that would do. What does Torishima see as the key challenges to ensuring that everyone has access to that clean water?
It's easy to talk about the availability and access to clean water when we're based in a country that has an abundant supply for both domestic and industrial use. The challenge to us engineers is to find solutions to get clean water to the millions of people who don't have access to it. UNICEF say almost a third of the population of the world have no access to safely managed water. Now, us as engineers have to do something about that. We have a twofold approach. One is to move clean water around through a network of transmission pipelines. The other, where there is water available, but it's not drinkable, is to manufacture and design water treatment plants locally.
Okay, so looking at that water treatment and supply, Paul, what are the challenges facing governments and businesses like yours in securing that treated supply of clean water?
Well, I'm glad I'm not a politician. It's not an envious task. But as engineers, we have to look at each case differently because every case is unique. Depending on the country, it depends on the topology, it depends on the climate. Each system is bespoke, whether you're looking at delivering 50,000 gallons a minute of water along a 300-kilometre pipeline across 300-metre high hills into a distribution system for a large city, or whether you look at the large desalination plants in the Middle East, which are delivering 1 million cubic meters of clean water every day. The solutions are bespoke. The desalination plants use large engineered pumping equipment and membranes. They're absolutely critical to their operation, and the design of these pieces of equipment dictates the electricity cost.
So what is Torishima offering that other companies like yours aren't?
We don't really manufacture unique products for the industry, but what we do have is a unique way of doing business. We're very much customer orientated. It's an easy phrase to use, a lot of people use it, but we actually take it very, very seriously. We work with the customer as a partner. We look at his system, we look at our engineering, we design the pumps to suit his system. We make the drawings, we do the testing, we manufacture the product, all within his timescales and his budget. So the key thing is very, very, very much customer orientated.
To take that a step further, Paul, what do you have in mind? What did you have in mind when you were designing the products that would address the challenges of producing and supplying clean water?
When you are trying to clear hills that are that sort of height, then the pressures that are involved become a challenge. The powers involved, everything has to be larger, thicker, stronger. It becomes more difficult and you need to take much greater care than you would with a more standard system.
So how have your products had a direct impact on the environment?
An interesting statistic is that 20% of all energy generated goes to drive pumps. So there's a big push in society to reduce carbon emissions. So with that amount of energy driving pumps, if we can increase the efficiency of the pumps even a little, it will have a direct impact on reducing the carbon emissions. So our objective is to have as efficient pumps as possible, which will in turn reduce carbon emissions.
How do you integrate qualities of responsibility and environmental awareness into your products?
Well, Torishima's brand has always had an environmental awareness. Japan had domestic mass recycling long before it came to the UK and Europe. Torishima launched the Go Green with Pumps initiative in 2009. So it is in the sort of the makeup of the company. As Jerry touched on, we look at the ways to minimise the operating costs, but further than that, we are also involved in Hong Kong and other places in the world, in the UK, with generating electricity from pumping equipment. So if you run a pump in reverse from stored water in a reservoir, you generate electricity. We have a project where we have become a stakeholder. We have invested in the project, and we are now effectively selling electricity to the national grid. We see this as a critical way forward to increasing our environmental sort of policies and awarenesses.
And if I had to ask you to take a step into the future, how would you like to see the production and supply of clean water in the next decade evolve?
I think what we talked about at the beginning, with a third of the population having no access or limited access to fresh, clean water, is a massive challenge for all governments, for all engineers, to make sure that we do something about that. The key thing is for governments and engineering companies to work in parallel, to work together, to find solutions to overcome that problem. So hopefully we'll move it from being a third of the world's population to a fifth, possibly.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.